Russian President Vladimir Putin has suggested direct talks with Ukraine to end the conflict, seeking Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan's assistance. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky welcomed the proposal, emphasizing that a ceasefire is necessary. Putin's offer for the unconditional negotiations in Istanbul aims for a lasting peace and urging Kiev to resume discussions as early as Thursday. After Putin's remarks, the Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan has informed the French President Emmanuel Macron that Turkey is prepared to host negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. Erdogan also communicated by phone with the Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, expressing Turkey's willingness to facilitate peace talks between the two nations. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has described Russia's consideration of ending the conflict as a positive sign, but emphasized that the first step must be a ceasefire starting May the 12th. Zelensky stated that it is a positive sign that the Russians are finally thinking about ending the conflict. He also urged Russia to confirm a reliable and lasting ceasefire. U.S. President Donald Trump has expressed optimism about a potential breakthrough for the Russia and Ukraine following Russian President Vladimir Putin's proposal for peace talks with Ukraine. In his post on Truth Social, President Donald Trump suggested imminent progress in peace talks between Russia and Ukraine, saying he would continue to work with both sides. Trump's efforts have so far failed to produce peace or even a lasting ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, with fierce fighting and long-range strikes continuing since his return to the Oval Office in January. Ukraine and the European leaders have reached an agreement for a 30-day ceasefire starting May the 12th, supported by U.S. President Donald Trump, who warned of significant sanctions against Russia if President Vladimir Putin does not comply. Earlier, leaders from Britain, France, Germany, Poland, and Ukraine met in Kiev and discussed terms for a peace deal during the ceasefire following a previously rejected ceasefire by Ukraine. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer emphasized that the leaders were holding Putin accountable, stating that if he is truly committed to peace, he now has an opportunity to demonstrate it with no further delays or conditions. During a visit to Kiev, the German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has announced that his government will cease disclosing details about future military aid to Ukraine. He emphasized that discussions regarding arms, deliveries, and weapon systems will remain confidential. This decision aims to create strategic ambiguity. The Kremlin has insisted that the United States and Europe stop delivering arms to Ukraine before Russia will agree to a ceasefire. Kremlin Press Secretary Dmitry Peskov argued that continued arms supplies would give Ukraine an advantage, allowing it to mobilize new troops, train military personnel, and rest its forces during the ceasefire period. Peskov emphasized that Russia is committed to achieving a settlement through diplomatic means, but with no such means available, the military operation must continue. The Russian Defense Ministry has reported that Ukrainian forces violated the ceasefire over 14,000 times during Victory Day celebrations. The ministry stated that despite the ceasefire announcement, Ukraine continued military operations against Russia, recording 14,043 violations. Additionally, they noted that Ukrainian forces attempted to breach Russian borders 5 times and conducted 37 attacks, while Russian air defenses downed 58 drones since May the 8th.